Hey there, welcome back to JavaScript Evangelist. So today we're going to learn how to install Firebase into our Angular project. Firebase is a real-time database. Firebase allows you to build web apps with no server-side programming so that development becomes easier and quicker. With Firebase, you don't have to stress over servers or building RESTful APIs. Firebase, with a little bit of configuration, can take care of storing data, verifying users, and implementing access rules. You can learn more about Firebase at firebase.com. Let's just head over to console.firebase.com. And we have to add a new project. Go to database. Before adding anything to our data, make sure you're going to rules and set the read and write to true. So what we are setting over here is we are telling Firebase not to check about any authentication for now. Okay, go to data and you can see we don't have anything. We just have a node called test. It's not a node, it's just a value. To add data in Firebase, you have to programmatically add them from JavaScript. We'll see that later on. For now, let's just add Firebase to our web application. Click on Overview. Click on Add Firebase to your web app and copy this config, which is displayed over here. Before adding this to our Angular application, I'm just going to add this to a jsbin just to show you how Firebase SDK works. Okay, and I'm just going to do a console log. The SDK is event driven, and I'm just going to call a root variable over here. Root equals to Firebase.database. Now I need a reference to our database, so I have to call this line. You can read more about Firebase SDK at this URL. Firebase SDK is event driven. It's not observable based. So we are going to use something called AngularFire later on in a moment. So we have reference to our database, root.on, and we have to listen for an event called value. Value event passes us something called snapshot. This is a snapshot of the entire database. And I'm going to do console log over here. Clear this all. And so we are getting an object. So that is the entire database. But snapshot also provides us a method called value, val. And if you check again, we are getting a test value from our database. Now I'm going to import a new database over here called users. I'll share you this JSON file in the description. So as you can see, we have imported the data. I'll just show you how this data looks in Sublime Text. Users object contains a lot of arrays, and the array values is a single object, basically a single user. I want specifically a reference to users node. And we are getting all the users now. Now rather than getting all the users, I just want the first user in the array. To get a first user in the array, you don't have to type 1. Basically, we are going to get a 0. Okay, and I just want to display the first name, so I'll just type value dot first underscore name. Okay, and as you can see, we are getting a value over here. And let's see what happens when I change anything over here. Okay, and as soon as I change a value, I receive a new value from the server. Alright, so this was the basics of Firebase SDK in a web app. But let's just install Firebase into our Angular project. We are going to use something called AngularFire, which is an observable based library for Firebase. The installation process is fairly simple. Okay, so just go there to the GitHub link and copy this line. So we are going to do npm install AngularFire2 space Firebase dash save. So we are installing two libraries at once. Go to your terminal, paste the line and hit enter. So while it's downloading, let's just copy our config into our environments. You can see the installation process which is listed over here. So I'm just going to copy this config. I'm going to go to the environments. So basically your project, src and environments, and go to environment.typescript file. I'm going to add a new node called Firebase. Now, once you have downloaded and installed AngularFire2 and Firebase SDK, go to your app module folder, app module file. So basically we have to initialize the config now. We need to load something called AngularFire module. Go to your app module config file. Under the inputs, add AngularFire module. I'm just going to hit Alt Enter on my keyboard, and my WebStorm will add it over here automatically. Alright, so AngularFire module needs to initialize an app. So I'm going to pass this method the environment config which we just created. .firebase Alright, so we have added the config, we have initialized the config. Go to the app component TypeScript file, and we are going to initialize the reference to our users database under constructor. So add a private variable over here called AF as AngularFire database. So this is a reference to our database AngularFire. Just replace this with single quotes. Alright, so I'm going to create a constant over here called users, and this is going to be an observable. So just as a syntactic sugar, add a dollar at the end equals to this .af .list. So we want to list all the users / users, and since users is an observable, you have to subscribe to it. Alright, so subscribe. Okay, by the way, it would be nice if you specify the type system properly. So I'm going to add a type to this. The type is going to be Firebase list observable. So this is a generic type which needs to pass the emitted value. This is the type of the users Firebase list observable, but what kind of data it is going to emit, we have to specify over here. So for now we are just going to pass any. Over here we are getting users, and I'm just going to do console log for the users. You can also do something like this. So since we are just returning a single value, and you don't have to pass this, it will eventually pass the value to console log function. Let's see if everything is working fine. Okay, Angular Firebase no provider, so we have to provide that as well. If you go to the installation process, which is over here, you can see we have to also provide Firebase AngularFire Database module under the providers. So we have to add it under the inputs. Go back to your app module file. After the inputs AngularFire module, add the AngularFire Database module, which will be listed under AngularFire2 database. Just copy this and paste it after this line. You should be, now our project should be working fine. Let's reload. Okay, everything is working fine. We should be getting data from the server, that is Firebase data. In case if you face any errors regarding polyfill, so if you face something like this error, like error Firebase shared promise, and it will say something that polyfill not found or something like that. Just make sure you install promise polyfill and like go to your npm and hit enter. Okay, I'm not going to do that because I have already installed this. Okay, so that's it with Firebase and AngularFire2 in Angular project. That's all with AngularFire2. So in the next video, we are going to load up users posts from Firebase. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe to my videos. Thank you.